All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome in. It's Alarm Fantasy Football. Shout out to Kev Tompkins for the lightning round broadcast, and Britt and I doing like a nice, quick little turnaround here because we got a whole other hour here of fantasy football deliciousness. Britt, what's going on? How are you? I mean, I got to ask you how you are because I'm sure some people are tuning in right now. Maybe they didn't catch all of lightning round. So how are you? What's that hat you're wearing?
I'm good. This is my basic Stasik hat. It's covered a little bit by a pin because this hat is heavy as hell, covered in pins, which is a testament to all the jam shows that I've been to. And I am super stoked for our guest today. So I'm wonderful.
We're going to have a great time. It's going to be a lot of fun this hour. We're going to cover a lot of stuff that's going on in the news. I know everybody wants to talk about this Saquon Barkley signing that we got today. So happy Saquon Barkley signing day for all of you who celebrate that. But yeah, Britt and I are going to bring in a very, very good friend of mine. He is a competitor of the Jam on Fantasy Football League. He also happens to play bass in a little band called Umphrey's McGee. That's right. Ryan Stasik, notorious Pittsburgh Steelers homer. Notorious Pittsburgh Steelers homer. He's going to join us in a little while. We're going to chop it up about the Steelers, the summer festival circuit, why Stasik can't seem to beat me in fantasy football, why he's always a bridesmaid and never a bride, all of that stuff here coming up. So I don't want to take too much away from the fantasy football aspect of it here. So as we love to do here on Alarm Fantasy Football,
it's breaking news.
Bum, bum, bum.
Thanks, Howard, for that marvelous introduction. But as you mentioned, the saga is finally over. Can we get an amen that we no longer have to talk about Saquon Barkley and the possibility of him holding out? This morning, he signed his one-year deal worth $11 million with a $2 million signing bonus up front. Barkley will report to camp tomorrow, and we can finally stop talking about what we knew was going to happen all along.
Yeah, I was like, I figured at some point, Barkley just, he knows that he didn't want to hold out. The Giants, I think what's kind of insulting here, because, listen, the franchise tag is $10.1 million, and that's what he's getting. And he's getting this $2 million signing bonus. Like, I get it. Maybe the Giants didn't want to commit multiple years to him at that price. But, you think about it, if all he was looking for was like $12 to $13 million a year, why aren't you just giving it to him? You can find creative ways to do it. Why run the risk of pissing him off, right? Having him disgruntled or anything like that? Like, I don't understand what the purpose was for that. But yeah, listen, the Giants turn around. They were like, all right, well, we'll pay you exactly what you're looking for. You wanted the $2 million. Here's the $2 million. I think this stops the fall for ADP wise, Britt. So Barkley, now he's signed. He will be in camp. Everything's fine. Where do you look to him in that first round amongst all the running backs now?
Yeah, he's easily top 5. I actually have him above Jonathan Taylor. I have him as RB4 behind Bijan because I am a Bijan truther. I know a bunch of people aren't in on a rookie running back, but I happen to be one person who is. I think with his receiving ability and the just mishmash of wide receivers that New York has, that he's still going to have that receiving upside. He still doesn't have any competition in the backfield. He's still going to get all the work. Like, barring injury, which we can never bank on anyway, he's a top 5 running back.
Yeah, I've got him 3rd overall in half point. I believe I've got him 3rd overall in full point as well. My rankings over at fantasyalarm.com/draft guide. Get yourselves a copy of the draft guide. I just leaked this out on Lightning Round. They told me they were taking my promo code away. So if you're watching this for free, I can help you out at least until maybe the end of the month when they wake up and they realize they haven't shut the promo code off yet. But Promo code Howard gets you 50% off your first 6 months over at fantasyalarm.com, which basically means that your football season is less than $20 a month. So
it's the best deal in fantasy sports.
Dude,
I
it's
will
ridiculous.
tell you that.
What people are trying, I got to be honest with you, like, because I talk to people in our Discord all the time about the pricing and things like that. I think what drives me up a wall is that, like, people look at the pricing and they're like, wait, what? What we're charging for everything. I mean, all sports, seasonal and DFS, all that. People are asking for that at other sites for just their football package. So I tell you, people, you're driving me up just up a wall. So I'm trying to help you out here. So this is going to shut off. They're going to shut my promo code off in a couple of days. I wouldn't be surprised if it's turned off by Friday, and they don't wait until the August 1st. So just kind of wake up and deal with that. Mr. Scabbers wants to know, what does the Saquon's contract mean for Jonah Gray?
Does he mean Eric Gray? Yeah. Maybe.
No, I think we're thinking Eric Gray here, the backup. He's a handcuff, right? I mean, that's what he is to me.
Yeah, for sure. He's a handcuff. He's definitely a dynasty stash, but this season he's not going to be a guy who's going to mix in and be anything crazy. So
yeah, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
and I'm all right. What else you got, Britt, news-wise?
Well, I have a bunch of news about the Ravens. So Rashad Bateman was first placed on the did not report list.
Mm-hmm.
Then he did report. And then he was placed on the PUP list. Also today, Odell Beckham was contemplating his retirement, saying that he's thinking that this may be his last year, and saying outright that he was even hesitant to sign with the Ravens. Everyone is so high on Baltimore, but with Rashad Bateman on the PUP and recent statements by Odell Beckham, not to mention all their other players on the PUP, are you concerned about the Ravens offense?
I mean, I was concerned about the Ravens offense to begin with. I think that, Todd Monken throwing his version of the air raid into this scheme, is going to be very interesting to see. I mean, listen, Bateman, he's on the PUP list now. He could be off tomorrow for all we know. I mean, so I'm not entirely worried about that. I think what bothers me the most is his comment saying that, he doesn't know what his future is with the Ravens because, yeah, I mean, listen, Odell Beckham, I know you're about to say it, but Odell Beckham said that this was likely to be his last season. Shocker. So, I think that Bateman is probably a little offended. He's a little butthurt right now because you bring in Odell Beckham, you draft Zay Flowers, and you're talking, you've got this big, heavy wide receiver room where Rashad Bateman used to be the dominant wide receiver. In this group. And we saw that at the beginning of last year to now he's probably going to be like one of the many who are going to be mixed in for targets as they do this. So, I mean, I love Bateman's talent overall. I think that he is a fantastic, and if you watched him in the beginning of last season, I mean, he was so good early on until the foot injury. So, I'm still okay with Rashad Bateman. I'm going to take him in drafts. I'm not going to, give up on him completely. But yeah, there's so much happening in Baltimore right now that I think the only place I feel really comfortable is Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews.
Yeah, and I'm not even necessarily comfortable with Lamar Jackson after back-to-back injury seasons. I'm going to say it. I've been burned, and I know that that's not a healthy way to approach your fantasy drafts, but I just, 3 times, I can't do it. I just can't do it. I'm in on Mark Andrews because at the end of the day, I think he's going to be a target monster, same as he always was. But yeah, this offense scares me. But
I think once I get my first share of Lamar Jackson, because I still don't have any yet, but once I get my first share of Lamar Jackson, I'm just going to send him like a case of Pepto-Bismol. All right, because I think it's the stomach issues for him, right? He's got those like mid game rumbly bumblies where he's like, I got to go poop. So I think that that's more what I'm worried about with Lamar Jackson. So some antacids, some stomach, some digestifs. Maybe we get him some. You're behind the bar sometimes, Britt. A little Fernet Branca,
some little bitters and soda.
Everybody's like, oh, yeah, give me a shot of Fernet. Why?
I think that's so gross.
That's the nastiest.
Blech.
Nasty.
Yeah. Well, I don't have a trash can next to me, so I can't talk about Fournette any longer because the visualization and mere mention of it makes me want to hurl. But something else that is not great and kind of makes me sick to my stomach is Kadarius Toney, because these training camp reports are really testing my resolve when it comes to updating the draft guide, because I did have Kadarius Toney as one of my wide receiver breakouts. And as the living draft guide moves on, I'm going to have to go change that now because he tweaked his knee supposedly. But then Andy Reid said today that he had surgery to clean up some cartilage and said that there's a chance he may be available for week 1, but we'll see. Do you think he'll actually be ready, or is this the same old stuff that we've seen from Kadarius Toney his entire career in the league?
I think that this is like the same old here. Did you watch those videos of him like berating Giants fans and the New York Giants? Like that dude's got a screw loose. Like that dude was like, like late Antonio Brown kind of mentality there, which was, a little on the frightening side. I think he's a little and I think that that's something that you kind of have to factor in, especially when you're dealing with this. I don't know how much Andy Reid is going to want to tolerate this kind of behavior, is going to tolerate this kind of oh, I'm hurt and I can't play. Like he's already got Sky Moore, so I mean why do you need another one? So I was big on Toney when he first got traded to the Chiefs. And then I saw, his usage, and I saw the routes that he was running, and it wasn't really there. There was some stuff that was intriguing about it because Reed does like some of that trickery. But when I look at what we've got as far as receiving core in Kansas City right now, I'm perfectly fine walking away from Kadarius Toney and just not even getting any exposure to him.
Yeah, I think the exposure that I have right now is going to be the most that I have throughout the rest of the drafting season because, he was faking that injury in either a playoff or in the Super Bowl, whatever it was. And you're right. It does seem like he has a screw loose. And then you get reports that Justin Ross, the second year receiver who didn't play last year, is actually taking first team reps. I like him way more than I like Toney. If he's out there getting first team reps, absolutely. It can be any of these guys. In some other quick injury update news, Chase Claypool was placed on the PUP list Sunday, then suddenly removed yesterday afternoon. Same with Kendre Miller. He was placed on the non-football injury list just days after training camp started and then activated yesterday. So it seems like these teams are just playing a little bit of emotional roller coaster with us. Same with CJ Gardner-Johnson. He had a scare in camp yesterday, being carted off the field after a non-contact injury, but he seems to have avoided the worst of it and should be back soon. Marcus Peters, though, is one that was just confusing to me. He agreed to a 1-year deal with the Raiders, and they definitely needed help in their secondary with one of the weakest in the league last season. But Peters has dealt with injury issues, missing the entire 2021 season, and he was one of the worst corners in the league in the games he played last year. So is this a desperation move by Las Vegas? Do they just like signing old corners? I mean, what's going on in Las Vegas?
Right. I think we're still trading Marcus Peters on name alone. I think that's really kind of where it's at. He's got the experience. And that the secondary has just been a weak spot for Las Vegas. So yeah, I think that when you bring in Peters, I don't think you're not bringing in Peters to be the shutdown corner. I think what you're bringing him in more is the fact that he is an elder statesman. We'll put it nicely that way. He's an elder statesman who won't have an issue with the defensive scheme, won't have an issue with, zone coverage. Yes, in man coverage, he's probably going to need, you need to float some safety help above him because he, can get burned. But yeah, I think this is just a matter of, let's try and get somebody. I mean, we knew that he had incredible talent back in the day. So let's try it, let's see what we've got.
Yeah, I think that has to be it because there's no other way. And to close out the news, we don't even have to spend a lot of time on this because this is straight up WTF news. Jimmy Graham. Yes, that Jimmy Graham was signed today to a 1-year deal with the Saints. What is happening here?
I think he just wants to retire a Saint.
I think that has to be it.
New Orleans, yeah.
That has to be it. But a whole 1-year deal instead of a 1-day deal, like just make it what it is. Give him a day, let him retire, and that's it.
Oh, maybe Jimmy needs a couple extra bucks. You give him, you get him to slowly pay him out, and let him retire as a Saint. It's just good press for them right now because everybody's crapping on the Saints and Dennis Allen. So,
well, maybe we get to crap on him some more later in the show. You guys have to stay tuned and check it out.
Check it out. But right now we've got, it's a treat for us. It's a treat for all of you out there. He is the bassist of Umphrey's, McGee, Doom Flamingo, Death Kings. I mean, he's all over the place here. He is also king of second place in the Jam On Fantasy Football League. It's my boy. It's Ryan Stasik. What's up, brother? Welcome in.
Thank you. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, I can.
Beautiful.
I can.
Beautiful.
That shirt's a little bit of an eyesore that you're wearing there.
Well, I just want everybody to know that everybody thinks the Steelers are a joke with the respect they're getting in the AFC North. So I wore my Joker Steelers shirt for you guys.
And we twinned up, Stasik.
Yeah, I see the hat. I like it.
That's great. No, I'm excited to. Oh, did we lose him again?
Well, I think we lost the visual here for Ryan.
Oh no!
Might be his first time with a webcam. We'll get him back in here in a bit. Like I'll get him to stop screwing around with his webcam as soon as he locks back in, and I'll show him a present that I've been supposed to be giving him for like the last 6-8 months, something like that. So once we get him back in here, we can dive into the deliciousness that is Ryan Stasik. Best Umphrey's McGee show you've ever been to, Britt? What was it?
Oh man, I think there have been a couple at Red Rocks that have just been insane. I missed the one this year with Mo, which was incredible. And they played together at summer camp as well. I think that it was one of the acoustic or the solo shows for the VIPs only. And this unexpected snowstorm came in during summer. And so all of the peaks surrounding Red Rocks were white in the middle of June. And we were just sitting there, like just us and like 40 other people and the band. And I got Joel's set list thrown to me. And I still have that in the glove box of my car. And it was so fun. There's too many to count. They're all great. The Caverns was awesome. Asheville with Billy Strings. This was before Billy Strings became a big thing. And he actually opened for them and then came on stage and did Voodoo Child with them, which was amazing. There's just too many good Umphrey's moments to count. So what about you?
Well, I would probably have to say, I believe it was 2019, Oakland, California. You see that trophy right there? That big old trophy. That's the Jam On Fantasy Football League trophy. For those of you who don't know what the Jam On Fantasy Football League is, it's sports guys who are jam band fans, and it's jam band guys who are sports fans. So, in addition to Ryan Stasik, there is Mark Brownstein from the Disco Biscuits, George Geekus from the Revivalist, Al Schneer from Mo. He's also in it. That dude stacks Buffalo all the time for that. I guess we're having some difficulties here. So you know what? I'll tell you what. We're gonna get him back in here, and let's cut to a quick commercial. Let's get Stasik's tech situation all metered out because this is gonna be a fun Steelers breakdown. I want to make sure he's there. So hang on right sec. We'll be back in just a second.
Breece Hall right now, and I've talked to plenty of high-stakes players, I'm sure you have too, Kev. Had Hall not torn his ACL last year, he might have been the 101 in drafts this year. That's how good he was looking last year, and obviously with the addition of Aaron Rodgers. At the 305, running back 11 behind Derrick Henry and Ramondre Stevenson, right ahead of Jahmyr Gibbs and Najee Harris. Your thoughts on him as a mid-third round pick? How have you been attacking him? Have you been getting him at that spot so far this year?
Yeah, if I start out with 2 wide receivers, Breece Hall is right at the top of the queue coming into the third. If I knew he'd be healthy for week 1, I was still a little.
Well, he'd be going higher than the mid-third.
Right. He may go 101 or well, RB1 at least.
Yeah.
But I don't think we know that even if he's healthy in spring and the summer, I still like if I'm running a team, if I'm the coach, I'm bringing him back slow. Like he's on a pitch count. Like I want him for the end of the season because I got Aaron Rodgers for the playoffs, right? Like even if he's fully healthy, I would work him in slow. But that is actually what you want. Like he's still going to get the high value touches. So yeah, if we know he's healthy, he's a first rounder. So like if he's sitting there in the third, especially when I get 2 wide receivers to start, I'll take Hall all day.
Yeah, it almost makes you think that the uncertainty with Breece Hall has made him unfairly fall too far, right? Like because of we're talking about the team here in June. They're still hoping that he's ready for week 1. This is not, we'll see what happens. We're taking it day by day. We're liking how he's coming along. No, they still think by week 1. And the fact that we have that timeline, I think, maybe bumps him up, especially as the drafting season gets deeper and deeper here in July and August. Maybe we start seeing him go up the boards as well.
All right, here we go. Now we're all set here. Look, Britt's changing hats. Can we get Ryan Stasik back in here, Ernie? Where's my guy? Where's my dude? There he is. There he is. Look at you guys twinning.
Perfect.
It's so adorable. It's so
good style.
The break gave me a chance to flip it around because I was kind of like twisted with the back, and then everybody can see that we're twinning. Yeah, it's super heavy. I've got a lot of show pins, man.
All right, so Ryan, man, appreciate you joining us here. Listen, obviously, I brought you on here so that A, I could talk some smack your way. B, I can actually show you. I think I asked you for your mailing address, 6-8 months ago, something like that. This is what's coming your way, buddy.
Terry.
This is what's coming your way. I keep forgetting to send that out to you. So, listen, I know you're a Steelers homer. You stack them every year in fantasy, which is why, you end up getting burned so often. But let's talk about the Steelers here, man, because, you're like boots on the ground. You know everything that's going on with the with the team. So, talk to me about your expectations of the Steelers and, are you stacking them in fantasy again?
I'm stacking them in the leagues that I don't pay money, the non-money leagues, because I can't help but bet with my heart, which, I don't know if I'll ever learn. I like to spread it out. I'm in 5 different leagues, so, I like to keep it diversified there. I'm excited about the Steelers. The AFC North is a tough division. In my opinion, I'm biased. I think it's the toughest division in the AFC. I love what Omar Khan is doing. I think everybody is biased after their team drafts and they think they have the best draft in the world. But I truly think that year in and year out, the Steelers have proven that. And I think in our top 4 picks with Broderick Jones, Joey Porter Jr., Keanu Benton, and Darnell Washington at 4 is just a steal. It's up to Matt Canada to prove in his final year of contract that he can use these elite weapons to run an elite offense. And I think you've got, you filled some holes there at offensive line. I think Mason Cole has a great rapport with Kenny Pickett. And if we can, get the trenches working, we should be able to put up some points. And I feel like that's where we haven't been able to do that a lot over the last couple of years. I think we have a healthy Najee Harris, who I always pick way sooner than I should, betting with my heart again here. But on paper, besides linebacker or middle linebacker, I feel like we've filled some holes. And I bet on DraftKings that we win the division. I also bet that the Bengals, it goes Bengals Steelers, but I really feel that there's a chance for the Steelers to win that division.
Yeah, I think also that the pick of Broderick Jones and the trade up to just snipe him away from Howard's Jets.
Yeah, that was. I'm not gonna lie. Like, you brought that up like right off the bat. I mean, listen, I know that we're supposed to be family friendly, but dude, that was fucked up. Like, that was on your part and the Patriots' part, man. Like, what the hell was that?
That's like you sending me an autographed New Balance shoe off your foot. You know, that's what that is.
That's hurtful, dude. That's hurtful. Those New Balance shoes are styling. I don't know why. Listen, talk to Brownie. Go call Brownie. Brownie saw me wearing those kicks 2 days ago. Come on, man. Those are for real.
Yeah, also a Jets fan and definitely not in my speed dial for style. No offense, Brownie.
I didn't realize that Brownie was a Jets fan. Wow, they do exist. They're like unicorns and narwhals.
Wow, that's hurtful.
So Ryan, I know that you like Najee Harris, Kenny Pickett, second-year leap. Who is your favorite wide receiver to target out of Deontay Johnson and George Pickens this year? Because last year Pickett wasn't exactly great with the deep ball. Do you think that he takes that leap, or is he still like more of a short A-dot guy in this offense?
I think that just by watching the Steelers the last 4 or 5 years, they've always been the short dump off, the quick passes. However, I think Deontay Johnson's going to have a bust out year. I think Pickens is my pick, though. I love how I live in South Carolina now. So all these Georgia Bulldogs, drafting them, taking them, I'm a fan of it because those guys are elite. I saw a stat that somebody said George Pickens caught 86% of uncatchable balls thrown his way. So I think if you give Pickett some protection and he develops that rapport, Pickens is gonna blow people away. And that would be my number one to target. I know he's going later. I took him in a keeper league last year in like round 9. I'm not going to keep him in that league, but I've always liked that guy coming out of the gates. I think I want to thank the Chicago Bears, actually, for what they've done for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We gave them Chase Claypool. I'm a Notre Dame guy. And we ended up trading up and getting Joey Porter Jr., legacy. You know, and that guy's tough. I want tough people on our team. What else happened with the Bears? We got Robinson, played for the Bears. I think he's going to be a nice veteran with the wide receivers. I'm still picking Pickens. And Trubisky as a backup for Pickett. I think he's been a great quarterback to have back there, developing a good relationship. And to have a veteran behind Pickett is going to allow all of those things to make Pickens my number one guy for wide receiver.
I mean, yeah, I obviously when I break down that offensive scheme, I love Deontay Johnson for target share, but obviously he's definitely more of a I'm going to move the chains type guy. I'm going to throw across the middle to him. Pickens has that home run capability that we're definitely going to end up seeing. With that, I think Robinson becomes like an intriguing number 3, let's run him out of the slot kind of a thing. And let's see what happens there. But I guess from an offensive standpoint for you guys, are you in on Freiermuth as your tight end? Like the one problem that, the way that everything has gone on, and this is like through Tomlin's tenure as the head coach, is that you haven't had that pass catching tight end since Heath Miller. To really be like that guy. Is Freiermuth going to be that guy, or do you have concerns about the offensive line that maybe he gets tethered to it a little bit too much now?
I really don't know. My hope is that Matt Canada, now that we have Darnell Washington, we have Zach Gentry as a backup who's a great blocker. We got rid of Derek Watt, so now the fullback position becomes Connor Hayward, who can still play receiver, who can block, who can be back there. Now, if we start doing 3 tight end sets where you have Freiermuth, you have Darnell Washington, and then you have Connor Hayward in the backfield or as a fullback, that is going to mess defenses up. So I'm hoping that Matt Canada is able to use those schemes and allow us to just really fool and have a different way to run the offense to fool defenses. I think Freiermuth has hands. I think since Heath Miller left, he is the guy, So I have faith in him as well. I really, really mean this when I say this. I know I'm biased, but we have an arsenal of elite weapons on offense. We just need to learn how to use them.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. The young talent that is on this team right now is so crazy. And people, like to kind of bash Deontay Johnson because they're like, oh, he drops the ball too much. But that's just not true. Like, his route running ability is so good. And once this offense starts clicking, Ryan, I'm with you. I'm taking the over on 8.5 win total.
Oh, yeah.
I love them. But I'm a little bit curious about where your love for Pittsburgh sports started, because I've seen you wear Penguins jerseys. I've seen you wear Steelers gear. How did this love come about for this city?
I was born and raised in Pittsburgh, and then I moved away when I was 12 because of my dad's job to Kalamazoo, Michigan, and I was basically the only family to leave all of our relatives in Pittsburgh. So every weekend or other weekend, we'd make that 6-hour drive back and forth from Kalamazoo to Pittsburgh, and you don't really have a choice. I mean, you're born into the black and gold, you bleed black and gold, and you're just a fan for life. I mean, even I give my kids the option down here. They've all been born in South Carolina, but they're diehard. I mean, not diehard, but they're Steelers fans at heart. So it's just something that I love bonding with my dad. He retired and lives down here. And the Steelers, all of Pittsburgh sports, though some of the, watching the Pirates is tough. But well, in the beginning of this year it was okay, but it's just in us, and we're all crazy fans. So
I take issue with the fact that you say that you let them choose their own path. I feel like I've seen your girls in way too much black and gold. I think if you gave them the option, maybe of some Carolina teal, maybe that would, kind of, I mean, make their eyes pop a little bit more. It's, a little more friendly than, just black and gold.
Yeah,
I think you're forcing it on them.
There's definitely a heavy persuasion. I'm a simple man. I've got my family, Trans Am's base in Pittsburgh, and other than that, they don't see much else. So
that's why you have to have the pink base, right? Because your fandom is all black. So you've got to throw a little bit of color in there. And if y'all haven't seen the black base or the pink base, it is amazing.
Yeah. always wanted a hot pink base, and it just took till COVID in the world to lock down for me to finally attain one. So thankful for that.
How many bases do you have? Like, I see I'm looking at the background there. I mean, listen, props on the mandolin and the banjo. That blows me away completely.
Yeah. I mean, how many brushes does an artist have? I don't know. It's just enough. Just enough.
I hope everybody from Jam On just watched that comment there, because I think I'm building my team name off of how many brushes does an artist have.
Need,
have, either way. I love it. All right, let's get a little smack talk going in here, right? Because I think that's kind of, I know that for me, that's what fantasy's all about. And, I used to do all the recaps for all you guys in the league, just to talk crap about all of you, for only the sole purpose of having you guys talk crap about me. And at least it's just, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, like that kind of a thing. So you guys all against me, but it really hasn't happened like that. You've been the bad guy throughout this league. You've been the guy that everybody guns after year in, year out. Why is that?
I think it's because I can take a punch, Howard. I can take a punch. The skin is really thick. If you're going to give it, if you're going to dish it, you got to be able to take it. And it's a pretty easy target when you're always finishing, always a bridesmaid, never a bride, and you like the Steelers, and especially in the beginning of last year, it's tough, man. You start 2-7, everybody talks a lot of smack, but I think what happened in the last half of the season and finishing 9-8 is going to, excite a lot of people this year, and it's not going to fool anybody in the Jam On Fantasy Football League when I end up, drafting Najee and Pickens, and having Pickett on my bench as my second quarterback. So I am who I am.
The acknowledgement of the predictability is so wholesome that I just love it. It's kind of like being a Cowboys fan, and everybody knows that I'm going to draft CeeDee Lamb and everything. But there's some upside in doing that. At least, you don't have to plan out your draft strategy nearly as far ahead, right?
Yeah. Well, I just print out my fantasy alarm cheat sheets and I just make sure that I go by those.
There, like people in the league give me crap about that, but yet you're all printing it out with shoes and is living and dying by it. Come on, man. I know. So, all right. We'll start off with the rock stars in the league here. So, out of Brownie, Geekus, Al, you guys play a bunch with Mo. Like, I mean, out of the music guys in there, who do you feel compelled that you have to beat no matter what happens? Like, if you lose to this guy, you're probably going to drop out of fantasy football forever.
Well, I don't want to lose to anybody, so I don't know if I can rank them like that. But from the last couple years, George has not been much of a problem, so I haven't had much to worry for George's team. Al, much like myself, is a homer and just he drafts all the Buffalo Bills. So I just got to be worried and pray that they're on bye week when I play him, so I don't have Josh Allen, Diggs, and company playing against me. Brownie, he did win it one year, but I'm not really worried about him either. So I'm going to say Al is the guy that I feel like I need to beat. He's the guy up there. Yeah, the Bills are great. They're an offensive force. So, he's consistently up towards the top.
But did he buy into the Gabe Davis true thing last season? Because a lot of people got bit by that Gabe Davis true thing.
I'm not sure what his I have to go back and look at his squad. I'm in too many leagues.
Too many leagues? You said you're in
With
5 leagues.
Well, I'm not a professional at this. I do other things.
Not me, man. I do nothing. I sit around. I play bass all day. You see the hand movement like that? I do.
That's the life.
I got the fingers for it, man.
You got the mitts, man. You got the mitts.
All right. So Al is probably your biggest competition, which makes sense. He stacks Bills. I mean, yeah, George stacks Saints. I mean, that's ridiculous. And Brownie's a Jets fan. So out of the rest of the crew, who do you get the most pleasure in just outright destroying, beating from all of that? Me.
Absolutely you.
I don't think you've ever beaten me.
You mean in like a head-to-head matchup or in the
Yeah, I think just everywhere.
Well, I mean, I've finished second a lot. I know that's kind of like being a Bills fan. You just, second place city there. But I think beating you is great because you're one of the experts. And then I also love watching how I go down that fantasy alarm cheat sheet and seeing you snag the guys that are like pick 6 and 7 and 4 and 5. And I'm like, damn it, Bender.
I feel like he does that on purpose sometimes. In our mock draft, he was sniping Coop's picks just to make him pivot and see who he was going to pick afterwards. So you're a big bully, Howard. You're a big bully.
I am all about the spite pick. I have no problem admitting that I'm like literally I'm hoping. Like, where do you want to draft this year, Stacey? You want to be in the front? You want to be in the middle? You want to be in the back?
Last year I was first and I took Jonathan Taylor, and I would take him again this year if I was at 10. I prefer to be in the back. In a 12-man league, I like to go running back, or running back, wide receiver if I have to. I'm always taking one running back. 10, 11, 12 would be great. And again, in this league, when you say I have Geekus or Brownie or something on those spin slots, they're a lot easier to read because they picked Saints and Jets, and I'm not taking any of them. So, it's nice to plan your draft around the other rock stars and work that way. But I like the back end. 8 and up is where I would prefer. But, I'm going to win. This year, I'm going to win it no matter where you put me.
Oh, all right. Well, listen, I love that kind of an attitude here. For anybody who doesn't know, the winner of Stasik, it's that trophy there. I know you handed it to me one time.
I handed it over a lot.
I just want So, all right. So if you win this year, who do you want handing over that trophy? Or do you want multiple people at a show of yours? Like, you get the show of your choice to get that trophy presentation happening there. What's your ideal presentation?
I mean, I might just present it to myself since I've had so much practice presenting. Well, I'm kidding. We'll have to see who's on tour and what I can do. I love to be a ham up there and take a little spotlight up there. So we'll see. We'll see who's on tour and where I can make it. But I'm due, Howard. I'm due. Right, Britt? It's time.
I have faith in you. No, I absolutely have faith in you. As somebody who also often finished in second and could just never get over that hump, I think you're due. It's time.
It's time.
I will fly to wherever you are to watch you get that trophy. I will fly. I don't care where you are on tour at that point. I will make myself 100% available to be there at that presentation. I don't have to be on the stage presenting it to you. To see that moment, to see that look in your eye. Look at you're getting it right now. I can see it. You're visualizing it.
Championships. I'm used to them,
Championships. Well, Ryan, dude, thank you so much for joining us, man. I don't want to keep you anymore. I've got this jersey. I will get this jersey out into the mail to you. I promise, so that you have it in time for football season. And yeah, dude, thank you, man. Always a pleasure to talk to you.
I love it. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you having me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love.
Ryan Stasik from Umphrey's McGee, big old Steelers homer there. Like, Britt, it's so much fun. It's like, listen, I know that everybody wants in on this league, and I saw Sellers in the chat. He wants in on this league. Nobody drops out of this league. Like, that's the thing. Nobody drops out, and everybody. I mean, the shit talk that goes on, the text chain that we have throughout the offseason also is just like, to me. Like, this is what fantasy football is all about. Like, I'll talk to Stasik about music till the cows come home, but like, he talks about music all the time anyway. So he loves talking football, and for all of that, man, I mean, dude, I adore him. I adore this league. I adore this crew. We're going to have a ton of fun. Like, on Getting Buzz this Thursday, I've got Bob Wischusen joining us. I had Ari Fink last week. He's the only 2-time winner of this league, and right, I don't know how that happened.
Which tells you how competitive the league is, though.
Do you know
there's only a 2-timer?
Do you want to know? Let me let you know a little secret here. You want to know how Ari Fink has won the league twice?
Not taking jets.
No, he texts me constantly during the draft. He's like, I don't know who to take here. I don't know who to take here. What am I supposed to do? I'm like, print out the cheat sheet and follow along with it. That's how Ari Fink has won it twice in this league. So maybe Stasik needs to pay a little closer attention to the cheat sheet, a little less about his Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. As somebody who doesn't really have a lot of Steelers, unfortunately, I am very in on Najee Harris, but they're outside of Deontay. I'm just kind of meh.
I feel like, because I mean, this league is all about the smack talk and the trophy and everything like that. I feel like having Stasik here on the show kind of obligates me to snipe Steelers from him. Like, how funny would it be when I win the championship using his Steelers as like my filler guys?
He would be so livid. That would be so mean. But also as a camaraderie situation in a league that talks a lot of shit. I mean, I think all bets are on the table. So, you do you. Get in that text chain and stir some stuff up.
He's obviously still watching. He just texted me to not snipe his, but I'm taking all your guys, buddy. I'm taking all your guys, man. That's it. They're all going down.
Now you're going to make him draft at outrageously high ADPs just to make sure that he gets them all.
Well, that's what you got to do, right? You start talking up all their guys each time, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, Bender's going to take my guy. And then they reach, and then that just leaves me all this yummy, delish value. So anyway, again, huge thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, at Umphrey's McGee on the old Twitter machine. So follow the band Doom Flamingo, Death Kings. These are side projects, side bands that Stasik does. I'm telling you, man, it's a must listen. He's the greatest dude. The bands are always great. Huge fan. So yeah, follow him around if you can, and make sure. And then of course, any time you go to any kind of a festival, Britt's going to be there. So you can hang out with Britt and see an Umphrey's McGee show. How great would that be?
I have taken so many people to their first Umphrey show, and the number of times that people have said, they're blowing my mind. Oh my God, they're blowing my mind. They're so good. So yeah, if you guys want to come hang with me at an Umphrey show, let's go blow minds together.
Absolutely. If you're in the Bay Area, when these guys get out here and they play Oakland, they don't come out all as much as they should, but come hang out with me at the next show. Absolutely. All right. So let's pivot off of the Steelers and off of the smack talk, and let's get back to some business here and talk a little fantasy football. And let's talk about the draft guide, right? We'll talk about, I mean, listen, we've talked about it over and over, and you guys, you got to get in on it. FantasyAlarm.com/draft guide. All right. That gets you can buy it on its own. It comes with the cheat sheet, which gets released actually on Thursday. The cheat sheet's going to be available. So, you can, but listen, if you buy it on its own, that's great and all, but why not just spend a couple of extra bucks and get yourself the All Pro subscription, which if you use the promo code Howard, still you get 20% off, and that knocks it down to like less than $20 a month for your first 6 months of that. So that's the football season. So all the money you end up making on DFS will be like, oh yeah, let me just keep this shit rolling in here and do it that way. So that's the draft guide. But like in the draft guide, I do all of these coaching systems articles here because I think it's one of the most important factors. Everybody's like, oh, who do I take and why do I, and what round do I take them in? We try to help you learn along the way and be able to make those better pickups and stuff like that. And I think these coaching systems articles are big. I just released the other day, the AFC South and the NFC South. Britt, I'm sure you've read the articles already. Do you care to critique my work?
I think that it's excellent work, and I think that you did a very good job. And it's also just as an observation, it's very interesting how much these two divisions in separate conferences are alike, with the two youngs, the olds, and then, it's kind of crazy. And they all kind of run the same style of system. So it's a very compelling read. It's interesting to see how different players fit into these systems. But I do have a beef with you about Hayden Hurst being left off of the Carolina Panthers as far as a fit. I've just got a little bit of a beef. But other than that, it was very good.
Yeah, I mean, listen, and I get that. I definitely do. I need to see how Hurst fits into this scheme. I also need to see how they plan on utilizing the tight end a little bit more. Like, we know that young rookie quarterbacks like Bryce Young tend to lean on their tight ends, but they did get him like a variety of weapons. You've got, Adam Thielen they brought in, right? Terrace Marshall Jr. still there. I actually still like Terrace Marshall Jr. They draft Jonathan Mingo. And they bring in DJ Chark to help spread the field. So you've got, 4 very viable wide receiver targets. The question is how much work is Hayden Hurst going to go? I mean, I guess you think you're pretty bullish on, I don't know what this means, but I'm kind of scared right now. So do tell me.
Well, there's 3 things. So first is Frank Reich's historic use of tight ends. He always relies on tight ends. He likes to have multiple tight ends. And the last solid tight end that he had in 2018, I believe it was Eric Ebron, finishing 4th overall. So obviously he likes to use his tight ends. Secondly, their new offensive coordinator was promoted from tight ends coach. So that he's got a little bit of insight and a little bit of a plan for Hayden Hurst. And third, and arguably most importantly, is the amount of money that Hurst got in free agency signing over there. I mean, he got paid, and they would not have paid him that much money if this little spin cyclone of a perfect storm didn't have plans for him. So I really think that he's going to have a big part in this offense, and he's basically free.
Well, that's the thing, is that he is free. And I'm looking at Dustin Ludke's comment right there. What about Hayden Hurst's historic use of being bad at football? Which, I mean, underutilized, where he's gone. I mean, I think he was miscast in Atlanta. I didn't think that was a great fit for him. I think he was completely miscast in Cincinnati. And I guess that's kind of why I'm a little concerned here, because Cincinnati with Hurst, Atlanta with Hurst. When it was Atlanta, I mean, it was Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones as the top two wideouts. So, I wonder if, are we going to see that fit struggle again here in Carolina? But to your point, he's free. And if you're sitting there and you're looking for a tight end late in your draft, whether you take, if you wait on the position completely, then, you grab two at the bottom there, like Hurst is, and Hurst is definitely one of them. I have shares of him doing just that. Like, who do you pair? When you take Hayden Hurst, is that because you're kind of waiting on tight end and you're just kind of mixing and matching there?
Yeah, I can't get in on early tight end unless it's Travis Kelce. And so far, it's been very difficult from my draft positions to actually acquire shares of Kelce. So after that, I tend to wait down to the actual Pat Freiermuth level. That's when I start kind of looking at tight ends, the Freiermuths, the Dulcich, some of those guys who potentially have high upside, but we just don't really know, who have question marks. That's who I like to pair Hayden Hurst up with.
Is Freiermuth going to be your guy now that like Stasik was hanging out with us?
No, he's actually okay. Listen, I didn't get a chance to say this when Stasik was listening. I drafted Pat Freiermuth as a rookie in the very last round of basically every single one of my best balls, and that's the ones that I had. Cooper Kupp when he went off, Debo when he went off. That team was amazing, and thanks in no small part to Pat Freiermuth, the one and only Pittsburgh Steeler. And so I still believe in him as a guy.
Well, I'm so glad that you didn't say that when Stasik was here, because I can't keep sniping more and more Steelers away from him. I'll let him take Freiermuth there. So who do you usually pair Hayden Hurst up with, like late tight end action that you go for?
Yeah, it's normally like Greg Dulcich. I think he's going around 15-ish now. I've drafted so many tight ends, and they're all actually Juwan Johnson. I've got a lot of Juwan Johnson actually, and it kind of scares me, but that's why we pair him up with somebody like Hayden Hurst. Just if one of them doesn't work out, surely one of the two is going to work out, and you pay such a low price for them in draft capital that you can go find somebody off waivers, because inevitably in the tight end wasteland, there's already always somebody on waivers.
There's always somebody on waivers. You know what? Since we're talking systems here, I'm going to deviate from the South, the last one that we did, because I'm curious. We kind of touched on this a little bit in lightning round. We talked about Eric Bieniemy in Washington now. Listen, this is Andy Reid's system that Eric Bieniemy has run for the last 5 or 6 seasons. And listen, I think that he has a very firm grasp on it, and he's bringing that entire system over to Washington. Would it not be the weirdest thing in the world to maybe think that Logan Thomas was going to start getting targets funneled his way, because throwing to the tight end is a thing of familiarity for Bieniemy? Like, would you, because Thomas isn't even being drafted in most leagues, which I find insane. Like, I grabbed him in Scott Fishbowl, and I'm like, this dude could really pop. Any interest in Logan Thomas in that fashion?
I know we're not supposed to worry about injury concerns, but with him, I'm just too concerned. It's happened too often. And then I think this was before the draft even, there were talks of him potentially being let go from the team. And although that's probably not going to happen now because he's still listed as the wide receiver or the tight end 1 on that team, I just don't have a huge amount of faith in him. And I just can't put my finger on why I don't. And that's definitely not good process. It's not good analytics. It's just a gut feeling that I have about him. But if it works out, I think that you're absolutely right. The system itself lends itself to him being utilized quite heavily.
I feel that is the exact same thing as well. And it's so funny. I'm looking at I'm assuming that the Club Fantasy Football comment right there is coming from our friend Josh Hudson, the man with the velvet voice. I love listening to him. I could, that line from Ted, I want to sleep on a pillow made out of your voice. That's kind of like me with with Josh Hudson. Last year at the Expo, he was like standing right behind me during the poker tournament, and I was like listening to his voice, and I'm like, I just. But he says Cole Turner's the guy to look at there, that Thomas is a dud. I don't know, man. John Bates, Cole Turner, Logan Thomas. I feel like it's all a disgusting wasteland. I feel like the guy who's going to be getting the majority of snaps is the one I want.
Yeah, I just look at Bates as more of a blocking guy. So if something were to happen to Thomas, which I'm looking into my crystal ball and I think possibly might, then yeah, I would lean Turner. But at this point, like you said, he's not being drafted. So why not just put him on your watch list and wait and see? And then if one of your 2 late round tight ends doesn't pan out, then go grab the one who's working in the system the best.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Going back to the South divisions, because we kind of covered, back and forth there. Is there one, based on what you've seen as far as the schemes go, is there one where you're like, this is definitely this is just not a good fit for this team? Like, I think Peterson with the Jags is a great thing, and we saw that last year. But with the way these other teams are kind of structured, what team do you have the biggest concern over?
So it's actually the Buccaneers, to nobody's surprise. I mean, right? Dave Canales wants to run a West Coast offensive system. And yes, that typically uses the run to set up the pass. But not only has Rachaad White been pretty inefficient at running the ball, he's been great at catching the pass, but not at running. There are major quarterback concerns as to what pass they're actually setting up for. So I think that is going to be the one that just kind of bites everybody in the ass.
I mean, listen, I think, I think the only listen, I don't mind Chris Godwin. I think I just took him, as a play in the, I think I took him in the Battle of the Sexes draft. Is that where I did? No, not the Battle of the Sexes draft. I think I took him in the lightning round draft, but, yeah, I'm kind of, and there, and I'm Rachaad White. I don't like the rest of the way that this is looking for any of them. I really don't. So I'm kind of out on the Bucks there, as well. I mean, I feel like Canales has a good system that he wants to do, and he wants to go run heavy. I just think that they still need, they got to fortify the right side of that offensive line for it to be really successful. And let's just face it, Baker Mayfield sucks at football, and that's just going to be a disaster to watch him under center again.
Dumpster fire.
So bad. It's so brutal. All right. Well, listen, that's going to do it for us here today. Thank everybody for tuning in. If you're watching us on the YouTubes, smash that like and subscribe button there. Okay. That's how we feed our families. It's how Britt gets more pins for her hats. Right. So all of that stuff there. Britt, some final thoughts on the day today.
Yeah, so I'm actually not done. I've got Her Story in the Making coming up tonight. Speaking with a very awesome guest, Ty Floyd, who's a multimedia sports personality. Real interesting stories. So tune into that at 8:30 Eastern.
There you go. 8:30 Eastern right here on this same YouTube page. Thank you again, everybody, for tuning in. Big thanks to Ryan Stasik, our guest. For Britt Flinn, I'm Howard Bender. We'll catch you next time.